And welcome to the Capsource investor call. Today is February 13th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I appreciate everybody making the time to join the call today. Wanted to go over some brief disclaimers before we get started. First off, anything that I say today should not be construed as legal or accounting advice. If you have specific questions related to either a legal topic or an accounting topic, I do recommend that you reach out to a competent attorney or CPA to ask those questions. But I would like to take an opportunity now to go through some of what's been going on in the case and answer some of the questions that investors have provided to us in anticipation of this call. So the first question is, what does the timeline of this case look like? The timeline of the case has to do with the liquidation of the assets. There are a couple small assets remaining to be liquidated, and then there's one slightly larger asset that will need to be liquidated as well. And so we are working through those, and with the attempt of hopefully trying to get that done, as quickly as possible. We don't yet know exactly what that time frame looks like, but we will be getting to that at some point here in the near future. Next question is about as it involves biolabs. We don't actually have a lot of information on biolabs since it is not a receivership entity. And so we don't have a lot of information to be able to provide there. But again, if somebody has specific information related to that and does believe that it is a receivership entity or has specific questions about it, please do reach out to us and we can discuss at that time. The next group of questions has to do with operations and taxes. When and how will tax forms be distributed? As part of a receivership, when we do distributions as ordered by the court, those distributions are return of principal and therefore does not require us to submit any kind of tax forms. And so we will not be filing tax forms as it relates to those distributions. Will IRS Form 5498 be filed with IRA custodians? And if so, when? Again, because we are doing return of principal, we are not filing any tax forms related to these distributions. If you have specific questions, I recommend you either reach out to a CPA, or if your CPA has questions, they're welcome to reach out to us and we're happy to walk through them with that. Next question is, why does the defendant get a tax break when I pay income tax in the interest? I'm not quite sure what kind of tax break you're referring to with the defendants. There is no tax break that I'm aware of that they are taking advantage of due to interest or any other payments being made. Next question is, will I see any more payments or can I write off the loss? That depends on the status of your loan and your status within that loan. To the extent that you have received all the money that is possible to be received in the case, then you may not see a further loss, but due to the distribution as it's set up by the court and by us, there is opportunities for future distributions for some of those loans, and so they may not be a final payment. So if you have something specific related to your investment, you're welcome to reach out to us and we can let you know if we believe any other payments will be forthcoming on those loans. Next question is, how does a company be forced into receivership? In this case, the receivership was done as a regulatory action by the Securities and Exchange Commission. They alleged that the defendants were violating securities laws and therefore filed an action based on that. There are other ways in which companies can get put into receivership, but that is the way that this specific one happened. Now, questions related to the claims and distribution process. Will investors ever receive all or part of their percentage monies for their investment, and what percentage? Yes, so right now the court has authorized us to make distributions based on when we receive payoffs and payments on certain loans. We are hoping that there will be a surplus of funds after the loans are paid off, in which case we will be able to go back to investors that took shortfalls in their loans or their loans were in a second or third position, and hope to be able to return money to some of those victims as well. We don't yet know exactly if there will be money left over in order to do that or what that amount will be at this time. When can we expect to receive the monies that were held from distributions? That money will not be paid out until after the court authorizes a secondary type of distribution related to final payment in the case. And so once we get those assets sold and we have the remaining funds that will be available, we will make a motion with the court in order to be able to do a distribution based on what's available and what loans are still outstanding. Questions specifically related to Meadow 78 and King 261. We did not get any specific questions related to that property this time, so that we will not be, so there's no questions to answer there. Fillmore, what is the status of Fillmore? Has it been sold? When should I expect to see a check for Fillmore? So Fillmore is actually in the process of being sold. We do have an offer, and the paperwork is being prepared right now and will be submitted to the court shortly. And so we will be selling that. And then the distribution for that sale will be distributed per the distribution plan. So it will be the quarter after the funds are received within 45 days of that date. JC Commercial was sold previously. We won't need to talk about that as well. Fifth Avenue. When can I file a claim on the money that's owed to me in Fifth Avenue? Again, once all the assets are sold, there will be an opportunity to file claims if you still believe that you're owed money as part of that. We will talk about Fifth Avenue a little bit further on down here regarding people that were in the second and third position. So we will get to that shortly. FM 307 says, I was only partially paid out for forcing me to make a principal reduction. So the partial payments or the principal reductions that were done, those are some of the claims that we're talking about potentially being able to file a claim once the assets have been sold, and if there's any money available. Our hope is to then look at those people that did receive a principal reduction, or like I said, we're in a second and third position. And if there are funds available, then offer an opportunity to file a claim for those funds. Next question is, how can we be sure we're receiving emails and information from the receivership? The easiest way to do that is to reach out to us either at contact@capsource-receivership.com. Again, that's contact@capsource-receivership.com, or you can call area code 971-357-2220. Again, that's 971-357-2220. And lastly, you can go to our website and register there to ensure that you are on our mailing list. And that is the website is capsource-receivership.com. Again, that's capsource-receivership.com. And you can sign up there and get further information. The remainder of this call is going to deal with the Fifth Avenue Estates and some of the questions that have been asked there. So Fifth Avenue Estates was a property in which there were 3 different investments offered. The first investment offering was in 2015. That offering became what was the first deed of trust on the property. The second investment there was in 2016, and that related to a second deed of trust. And then finally, the last investment on that property was done in 2018. And again, that then became the third deed of trust. And so based on those different trusts, those different deeds, that's how the property was dealt with. When the property was sold, there were some significant issues with the property, and which forced the property to be sold at a discount over what would normally have been sold. So in that process, the first deed of trust, people were paid out based on what was available. It did not, and so there was no money left over after that first distribution to try to attempt to cover either the second or third deeds of trust on that property. However, we do believe that those second and third deeds of trust will have an opportunity to make a claim for funds after the remainder of the properties are sold, and if there are surplus funds available. So we will then offer that opportunity up to people in that position, and will have an opportunity to file a claim for those investments. And I know that that's a little bit confusing due to the various different deeds of trust and what positions that they were in. But again, the funds were only, the funds that were available were not even enough to have covered the amount of outstanding loan, principal loan on that first deed of trust. So therefore, nobody who was in the second or third position received payment out of that sale. However, we do believe that there will be some surplus funds available that will be that investors will have an opportunity to make claim for at that time. So again, I hope that provides a little bit more information for you as it relates to that. Again, if you have specific questions, I do recommend that you do reach out to us, and we can talk specifically about that. One of the other properties I know that people are asking about is ARC and what's going on with ARC. So ARC had some, in the state of Arizona in general, had some specific issues as it relates to the type of business that ARC is running. And so ARC, like every other business in that realm, was forced to redo some things based on Medicare payments. And so that has now been done. ARC has begun making payments again. And our hope is that sometime in the end of this year or early next, that we will be able to resolve all the issues with ARC, get that property sold, and then that we will be able to then make a final distribution to claimants. So that is the goal with ARC, and we will continue to update you as things happen there. But we do believe that ARC does have a bright future, and we'll be able to make those payments, and that we will be able to pay off investors for that. So again, if you have any questions, do reach out to us. The website again is capsource-receivership.com. And then the email is contact@capsourcereceivership.com, or you can call us at 971-357-2220. Again, 971-357-2220. So please, if you have any questions, do reach out to us. A recording of this video will be made available on the website as well. But our hope is to continue to push through these last few remaining assets and get this wrapped up as quickly as we can. Appreciate your guys' patience and allowing us to help you work through this process, and we hope to get this resolved as quickly as possible. Thank you.